So here it is, the brand new LEGO Star Wars Ultimate Collector Series, the Razor Crest set. This set has been long rumored for a few months now. We've known it's coming. Here it is. Honestly, my first impression is it looks like a mock. It doesn't even look like something the LEGO Star Wars team would make. It looks that good. This looks like something a fan made. It's so detailed. It actually has a lack of studs, which is kind of surprising. If you look at like the UCS AT-AT that came out last year, that set had a ton of studs. I know some fans were complaining about that, saying it needed to be a little bit more smoothed out with more tiles. And with this design of the Razor Crest, LEGO has definitely had quite a reduction of studs. There is some throughout the set, but I mean, this is the most tiled off set that I've seen in quite some time from a LEGO Star Wars UCS set. Now, the rumored price of the Razor Crest is supposed to be $630 US. All right, so it's been a few days now, and I can officially confirm that the price of the UCS Razor Crest is actually $600 US. The set number is 75331, and it comes with 6,187 pieces. So the price per piece ratio is actually pretty good if that $630 price is true. Man, like a full interior LEGO Star Wars ship that looks this good, this is gonna get fans excited. I'm getting excited right now. I wanna bust this set out and just start building it right now. I don't wanna talk about it, I just wanna build this thing, but alas, we need to talk about it. So let's turn this box around. You'll see that there is indeed 4 minifigures in this set, 3 of which are gonna be brand new and exclusive as I'm making this review to the UCS Razor Crest, the Mandalorian, as well as some other characters that pop up in the first couple episodes of the Mandalorian TV show. By the way, just want to mention that this is the first Ultimate Collector Series LEGO Star Wars set to be based off a TV show, not a movie. Previously, all UCS sets have been based off Star Wars movies and never the television series. And so this is the first time that has happened. Makes me really excited knowing that in the future, LEGO will be considering TV shows as future UCS sets. So this is kind of a special set. It's the first non-movie Star Wars UCS set to come, and it looks so good. They knocked it out of the park. I haven't even built it, and I'm this excited. So, wow. On the side of the box, you'll notice there is like a back view of the Razor Crest, which looks so good. Holy cow, guys. They're just knocking it out. The front view is over here. You'll see the not for sale sticker. That means this is a review copy that LEGO sent over, and I do really appreciate that. Now, with that said, this is a $630 UCS set. That is not cheap. I mean, so far, it seems like a good value, full interior, over 6,000 pieces, exclusive minifigures, a really great looking design. I think this is going to be a winner, but of course, we need to take a look at it in the in-depth. I'm so excited to review this set. I am genuinely curious if LEGO included the secret bathroom in the Razor Crest that we see in the first episode of The Mandalorian when Mythrol uses the bathroom. So I'm kind of curious to see if LEGO has Easter eggs like that. I'm feeling like it could, but we'll obviously find out here in a second. With that said, let's go ahead and go into the in-depth and take a look at the minifigures and see all the different details of the Ultimate Collector Series Razor Crest. So the first thing is the instructions. The build is divided up between 4 separate booklets, all of which, as you can see here, show the sections that you'll be building, and they all have this off yellow color. As per usual, in the first part of the instruction booklet, there's an in-depth not only about the LEGO Razor Crest, but about the real Razor Crest ship and how it was developed for the Mandalorian, which is always really cool to see. I did really enjoy that. And sadly, the LEGO Star Wars team does describe the making of the LEGO Razor Crest and the fact that this set does not include a bathroom. I was so sad to see that, but at least they mentioned it in the beginning. Also, we're approaching the end of 2022 now, and still no paper bags in LEGO sets, which is quite unfortunate. Here's the sticker sheet for the set. It's not too bad with 17 stickers. And here it is, the Ultimate Collector Series LEGO Star Wars Razor Crest.
I must say this is a very impressive build. This is going to be a very long in-depth as there is so much to be shown throughout this set. Lots of Easter eggs, lots of interior rooms. I'm very, very excited to get into this. But of course, we'll go ahead and start off with the front plaque and minifigures. That is a separate part of this set. It's not a part of a stand, unfortunately, and we'll talk about that later. The plaque stand does just normally have the 8x16 tile with the usual sticker. I think at this point we should be getting a printed tile with this information, not a sticker. So the first figure is the Mandalorian with his non-Beskar armor from the first couple episodes of the first season from the Mandalorian. You'll also notice his helmet has a new print on it, which has a little bit of a line above his T-visor there. Very cool and definitely makes this figure even more desirable. We have arm printing, which looks absolutely fantastic on this figure. Of course, he also comes with his normal shortened cape. Underneath the helmet is Pedro Pascal or Din Djarin's face, and there's also a hairpiece included. So a very complete Mandalorian minifigure in the Razor Crest set. Next up is Baby Yoda or Grogu. He also comes with his buildable cradle. I think this is the same cradle that we get in the Star Wars Advent calendar, but I'm not entirely sure. The next exclusive minifigure is Mithril in this set, and as you can see, LEGO decided to go with a printed head, which is dual-sided printed, in fact, which looks good, but it's not a new molded head, which I think some of you would have assumed. He also comes with handcuffs as well. And the last exclusive minifigure for this set is Quell. He also comes with a buildable blurb, which we'll look at here in a second. This figure was highly debated because it actually leaked about a month or two ago online, and so there's a lot of people complaining that his head is oversized or looks wonky. Personally, now that I see it in person, and hopefully I'm showing all the angles possible of this head, I think it looks good. It looks Lego to me. I don't really feel like it looks that wonky or that off-putting. I think it looks like the character as if it was made into Lego. And here it is next to the Mandalorian, and I think it's about the right scale as well. Now, the buildable blurg is actually a very well-made design. I'm very surprised with how well this turned out. It kind of reminds me of one of those, microfighter type of figures, but works better for some reason. It does have some newly printed eyes on it, which are really cool. It has a movable head as well as a movable tail, as well as some tiny little arms that you can move and adjust as well. So overall, I'm very impressed with the buildable blurg. Hopefully I'm also pronouncing that name correctly. I think it looks really good with Quell on top of it. And now I get to unveil just how modular this set is. It is very rare to say that a UCS set is both modular and has a minifigure scale interior. That doesn't happen very frequently, and this basically has a complete interior. There is a few things missing, and we'll take a look at that here in a few minutes, but man, does it come really, really close. It's crazy just how many things you can open up, pull out, move around, and just have fun with. This is an incredible set that is literally a giant play set. Basically everything except the bathroom is here. Maybe a few other small details might be missing as well, but basically everything comes off and you can go exploring inside the Razor Crest. From the top down, you'll see just how much space is in there. Thankfully, it's just big enough to get your fingers in between the spaces. It's not too cramped. And as you can see, there is about 6 modular sections. That back modular section, I'm not sure is intentionally supposed to come off or not. So as we go exploring inside the Razor Crest, you'll find the first Easter egg, which isn't publicly shown, which is Boba Fett's armor comes in a random bag. I was surprised. I was like, what? This is in the set? A season 2 reference to The Mandalorian, which is really cool. And then on top of that, we have a little sign that says baby on board with Grogu's face, a little generator, and then here is the carbonite, this is how the Mando stores his bounties with his freezing carbonite chamber. And I have to say they designed this very well. It fits in and all of the sections are modular. Unfortunately, the carbonated bounties are stickers instead of printed pieces, which I really would have liked if they were printed. But I must say the freezing chamber here looks really good. It fits a minifigure so you can freeze Mithril. I love that. The next thing is the armory, which has quite a few weapons in it, which, I was a little surprised to see. This is a Lego set, but they have a little armory with all the blasters in it, which I think is really cool. No new blasters, unfortunately. And then again, just to show you kind of scale of inside the set, this thing is roomy. You can definitely get multiple figures next to each other. It feels about minifigure scale. Next up, you'll notice a ladder, and what does this lead to? Well, there's 2 floors to this interior, which is really incredible, and the second floor is actually modular, so you can pull it in and out to get to the lower deck. And there's even a space for the Mandalorian to actually come up the ladder to the second level. Like, just little details like that make this set. Here's that second floor. You'll see there's 2 extra seats, some studs, a movable door. Like, there's a lot going on here for such a little section. And there's even a little Easter egg to Frog Lady's eggs as well for Grogu. As you can see, the cradle fits in very well. There's even a little space to hang up Mando's blaster as well. And again, here's what that movable door looks like. I'm surprised that like it's able to fully move 90 degrees and not hit the cradle, and there's still, space for the ladder. Like, it's really well designed in here. I'm very impressed for such a small little space. They've done a lot here. You can recreate some scenes. Like, there's plenty of little studs to put different figures. You can probably put up to like 4 to 5 minifigures here in the cockpit, which is really cool. It just gives much more customization to this set. And then here's what Mando looks like in his turning front seat. And of course, there is a full set of control panels, which is very noticeable in The Mandalorian. So I'm glad LEGO took the time to include a lot of different printed pieces. None of those are stickers, which is nice. And of course, we have the little joystick ball for Grogu to play around with. Again, nice little Easter eggs that LEGO is including here that definitely will make fans happy. Another Easter egg is not only do you get a bed, but there's something underneath that. Here's what the bed looks like with Mando on it, and I think that's a water bottle, or maybe it's a baby bottle. I don't know. What is that? Let me know down in the comments, guys. But what the cool Easter egg is when you remove the bed, there is some wiring underneath, and that is supposed to be in reference to one of the Mandalorian episodes, I believe, with Grogu kind of messing around with the wiring. And I really like that Easter egg. So it has a red and blue kind of circuit thing going on there. Again, it's just hidden away underneath the bed. Here's what Mando looks like outside of his cockpit. On either side of the Razor Crest, you have a ramp that has 2 steps to it, and you can play around with this. This, again, seems actually minifigure scale. When I put a minifigure here, it seems about right. I was just watching The Mandalorian again just to verify a lot of this. Another cool little Easter egg inside the set, and we never see this in The Mandalorian, but apparently it is there, which is in an escape pod on the very top of the Razor Crest. It's unfortunate the ship got blown up, because I would like to see how this escape pod works in the show. And you can actually put a minifigure inside of it. Basically, any figure will work, including the Mandalorian with his cape on, which is really nice. And there's even a little window, which is just really funny. And if you look close enough, you can see a minifigure's face, or in this case, Mando's helmet, through the porthole or window. On the back of the Razor Crest, you'll find the main ramp that is retractable and can be folded up and down, which is really cool. And again, here's what a minifigure looks like from the view. I may or may not have been playing around with this function quite frequently. This is a very fun set in my opinion. Now looking at the exterior of the Razor Crest, specifically those giant engine blocks, these things are massive and definitely take up a majority of the build. Thankfully, they're not that monotonous or anything to build. They're not too crazy. They actually use a lot of regular brick building techniques. There's really not much Technic going on, which is surprising. I love the use of the chain piece in light bluish gray on either side of the engine block. I think that looks really good. On the side panels of the Razor Crest, most of this yellow being shown here is actually using Lego bricks. There's actually just 2 stickers, which is nice to see. The stickers are a little off with the gray. Thankfully, it doesn't stand out too bad. The front turrets here look fantastic. I love this design here. It was very fun to build. It was actually one of the last things you built on the Razor Crest. All of the angles on this ship look fantastic, and little parts usages like underneath that nose piece looks really good. For those of you who are wondering, it is pretty tiled underneath the wings. There is a little bit of anti-stud there, but it's not bad. There's a little color showing through. And there's also a brand new molded piece, the 4x4 tile. So there's some nice greebling on the backside of the Razor Crest as well. Really like that. And then on top of that, the engine piece here has a nice parts usage using that new, I believe it was in the Harry Potter Icons set. Harry's glasses piece is being used to make this engine work. And I think the design is really nice once you complete it. more greebling on the top side of the back of the Razor Crest. And again, all of this looks very well done. It's actually very tiled off, not that many studs, which is surprising to see on a UCS set. LEGO usually goes a little more hardcore with the studs, especially when you're talking about the UCS Imperial Star Destroyer. Landing gear, it is actually possible to remove the front foot. Unfortunately, the two back feet are stuck in by using some Technic pieces, but I'm sure people out there will modify this set to remove the back landing gear and get this thing so you could put it on a stand. Unfortunately, there is no stand in this set. And for those of you wondering, here's me like holding the set, but here's what the underside, the actual underside of the Razor Crest looks like. A lot of anti-studs here. They didn't cover this up or anything like that. You'll also be quite surprised by the lack of Technic in this set. There is a little bit of Technic bricks, but very few, which I was very surprised about. Moving on, we're getting now on to the comparison of the Razor Crest. The first set that I have it next to is the playset version of the Razor Crest, which came out in 2020, and today it retails for $140. So you're looking at $140 versus $600. And I think that's about right, given that I'd say the UCS Razor Crest is about 3 to 4 times bigger compared to its playset counterpart. And I would also say that the UCS Razor Crest has a far, far better interior compared towards the playset. So that makes sense given the price tag difference. And then on top of that, here is what the windshields look like in comparison. As you can see, the new Razor Crest has a much bigger windshield, but it does have a sticker in between there. Next is the UCS Republic gunship, which came out last year in 2021. This set now retails for $400. It used to be $350, went up to $400 because of inflation. The UCS Razor Crest was actually rumored to be $530, and now it's $600. So you're looking at $400 versus $600. Arguably, the gunship is very big next to the Razor Crest. However, the gunship lacks a full interior and isn't minifigure scale either. Next is the UCS Land Speeder. This is a $240 set. It originally retailed for $200. Now it's $240 because of inflation. After that is arguably the most popular LEGO Star Wars set of 2022, which is the ATTE Walker. I must say the Walker looks pretty puny next to the Razor Crest. It's definitely, I don't know, 3 to 4 times smaller in scale, maybe 3 times. Again, very different scales, very different purposes for both sets. And lastly, we have the UCS Millennium Falcon. This set now retails for $850 US. It's also on a custom stand, by the way. The stand the Falcon is on does not come with the set, so keep that in mind. You're looking at 7,500 pieces for the Falcon versus a little over 6,000 for the Razor Crest, so I'd say 600 makes sense for the Razor Crest given its piece count, and I do think the scale of the Razor Crest is still pretty big. Obviously, the Falcon looks massive next to the Razor Crest, but keep in mind that the Razor Crest has that full-size interior, which is very uncommon on a UCS set. Not even the Falcon has a full interior. Now, I have to say, this set is expensive at $600, but in my opinion, I still think it's actually worth it.
Well, now that we've taken a full in-depth look at the Razor Crest, I think a lot of you can just see how special this UCS set is. Given the fact that this set is just basically minifigure scale is exciting enough, but the little Easter eggs like the Boba Fett's armor just made the building experience that much more engaging. I had a blast building the Razor Crest. I would go as far to say that this is probably one of the best building experiences for a LEGO Star Wars set within the last couple years, maybe the last 3 to 4 years. I haven't had this much fun building a set this big in some time. Don't get me wrong, building the UCS AT-AT last year was definitely close to this building experience, but obviously you're building a bunch of legs and armor for a lot of the period of time. Whereas with the Razor Crest, you're building so many rooms at the start of the build, you're just engaged with all the different little things. You don't know what to expect next. And as you're going through the build, you're remembering certain scenes that you remember from The Mandalorian. You're like, oh, well, I remember that. And oh, there's the ladder and stuff like that. It's just the nostalgic value of building this set is really there. And then on top of that, it looks really good. Like, I think the overall design is fantastic. Techniques that are being used here are out of this world. There's some really creative techniques that I've never seen used in a LEGO Star Wars set before. So props to the designer for really coming up with really innovative ways of attaching panels that are actually legal techniques now. I think a lot of you will be surprised by how this set is put together and also how sturdy it is. You know, given the weird dimensions and weight of the Razor Crest, I'm very surprised with how they were able to pull it off and have the modularity and complete interior as well. That's impressive. Now, it doesn't have everything inside like the bathroom, unfortunately. I wish it had the bathroom, but honestly, almost everything else that you would expect this set to have is there. Now, if I had to nitpick this set, I would say it would have been cool to have retractable or removable landing gear and have some type of stand included in this set. Probably at the end of the day, it was stability issues of removing the landing gear and trying to, cover up the gaps and everything. That was probably tricky. Although my mind goes to the 2010 UCS Imperial Shuttle where that had removable landing gear and a separate stand. I think something like that could have maybe worked. Now, while it definitely is a downside that you don't get a stand in this set, I do think fans would probably prefer to have the Razor Crest in the landed mode like this anyways, because you see the ship in this mode a lot of the time. It's on screen for the Mandalorian. Usually he's doing something around his ship, or he's loading cargo or loading his bounties and stuff like that. So you see the Razor Crest in landed position very frequently, maybe just as much as you see it flying around too. So I think it's fine that the only, landing position you have is with the landing gear out and, no stand included. But I still would have liked the stand. Now, I'm sure there's at least some of you asking, how come LEGO didn't add any chrome pieces to this set? And honestly, I'm not sure. If I had to take a guess, I'm sure they tried to at least include some like chrome or drum lacquered pieces as they call them. And it probably just looked weird. They weren't able to maybe do enough chrome pieces to, maybe make the price tag that they wanted to achieve, or it just looked wonky having, some areas chrome and some areas not. Because I've talked to the LEGO team before, a lot of the time what it comes down to with chromed LEGO pieces is that the specialized piece, especially something like this chain right here, isn't really possible to like chromify without it getting chipped with the paint chipping and stuff like that. And they just have a lot of issues making that happen. And so let's go out there and say that they were able to, chromify all the light bluish gray outside exterior pieces. That would cost an extreme amount of money. We're talking probably an extra at least $200 to $400. So the question then would be, would you be willing to spend $800 to $1,000 on a UCS Razor Crest just for it being chromed? Maybe some of you. I'd probably be the crazy one to say yes, but a majority of LEGO fans and Star Wars fans would probably be okay spending the $600 with the light bluish gray color. And we've just been talking about the Razor Crest ship. What about the exclusive minifigures in this set? 3 of the 4 are exclusive, which is fantastic. I think a lot of you will be very excited about that. It's always an ongoing debate within the LEGO Star Wars community whether big expensive sets should have or should not have exclusive minifigures. And if the minifigure is exclusive, should it be a popular character? Should it not be? It's a debate that goes on and on. Personally, I think this is the right balance. These are, characters that pop up in the show, but they aren't like absolutely must-haves for the majority of LEGO Star Wars fans. So is this a perfect LEGO Star Wars UCS set? No, I don't think so. But does it come really close? Absolutely. I think they knocked it out of the park with this one, guys. I know that if I hadn't got this set from LEGO, I'd be going out and spending $600 day one on October 3rd. No doubt. This is that good of a set. At the end of the day, what you're getting here is a giant playset. And who doesn't want that? Well, thank you guys so much for watching this review. Don't forget to subscribe down below. And don't forget there's also a link down in the description to lego.com where you can check out the Razor Crest and purchase it. It's affiliated, helps out the channel. Thanks again to LEGO for sending this set over for review. I hope you guys have a great, wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.